Hey Jack, how's it going?
It's going all right, Steve.
Good, good. I got a few questions for you. So, my first question would be, who inspires you?
You know, that's a great question. The person who first got me into being a person in student affairs, whatnot, would be the Joe Gorskowski. He was my one and only RA because I was a freshman, like everyone, and you know, I only had one RA, and then after that I became one. But he was just really great because I was able to quickly connect with them, and we just hung out, and I realized how cool he was. So I figured I wanted to be as cool as Joe Gorskowski.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So, next question for you. Where do you see Res Life going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh man. Well, it's such a deep question. I really hope you edited out all me thinking about this challenge. But I mean, I know we're stepping further and further towards, you know, like gender inclusive housing. So yeah, you have like facilities things, and yeah, Winford is going to be, you know, all renovated. But I mean, in general, every batch of RAs we have seem to be better than the last. So, I mean, I don't know how to answer your question in a smart way, but I mean, all I know is that our RAs are going to be phenomenal no matter what kind of problems residents or, you know, supervisors may, you know, throw at us. So they'll be able to knock it out of the park.
Very cool. And then the last question, what is your favorite decade?
I would say, hey man, here's a shot.
Sorry.
I would say probably, I like the 60s.
Good.
They've got a good group of music.
Awesome, for sure.
Yeah, man.
All right, thanks, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do this.
Wish they all could be California. I wish they all could.
Alrighty, so I got a couple questions for you, Frank. So I'm going to ask you first, explain your previous Res Life experience and how has it influenced your leadership style?
Most definitely. My previous, I say, Res Life experience, I had to do 2 jobs pretty much with being a program coordinator and being staff, a residence coordinator. And how it influenced my leadership style is just that you got to do a lot of things at once. You got to wear many hats when it comes to the student affairs field, and you just got to level up and do all the jobs you can, and sleep when you can, and live life. Yeah.
All right, another question for you. How do you see your position evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, so like complex director?
Okay. I really think the number of hours you're going to stay in your bill is going to be increasingly more, especially within the different populations that's going to be coming in the residence halls. And then not only that, I think a lot more hands-on with the younger generation coming in with first-year students and possibly a different approach to programming and advertising. So.
Yeah, and then the last question, what's your favorite decade?
90s, because that's the most I can remember. And some of the cartoons and music that was out there was actually pretty cool. And I think Hey Arnold was a big 90s cartoon, so that's one of my favorite Nickelodeon cartoons. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.
But love tonight, it is where we are.
Hey man, how are you?
Doing pretty well, how are you?
Good, not too bad. All right, I'm going to ask you a few questions here. What do you like about working in Res Life?
Ooh, probably the people. You get to meet a whole lot of people, lots of passion, lots of energy. It keeps my energy up. It's great.
Yeah, good, good. Who inspires you?
That's a great question. Probably students the most, with how much passion and energy they have.
Right.
I mean, we're coming on with a theme here, but I think just getting to see the different perspectives, it keeps me feeling like I can stay on top of all I do when I see our student leaders doing like 5 to 10 things outside of their leadership job.
Awesome. And then the very last question, what is your favorite decade?
Probably the 80s. I was made in the 80s,
Okay.
so I love it.
Good, good. All right, that's all we have for you. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
Take me home tonight. I don't wanna let you go till you see the light. Take me home tonight.
Hi Heather, how are you?
Good, how are you, Steve?
Not too bad. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
So the first one is, this is kind of a two-parter. Were you an RA? And what is one word that describes your RA experience, if you were an RA?
Yes, I was an RA for 1 school year at Eastern Illinois University.
Okay.
One word crazy sometimes is a negative term, but it feels pretty alive.
Yeah, can be good as well. All right, next question for you. Where do you see Res Life going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where do I see it going? For the schools that haven't transitioned yet to being more of a residential education place, I see those schools going there and not being, we're here to house students, although that is the primary focus regardless, but the only focus, that's not going to be the case
Right.
anymore. As far as like some of the more developed programs, like here at Whitewater, I see us really trying to keep up with the technology
Yes.
and incorporating a lot of our programs and everything.
Awesome.
I also see us moving more towards suite style type living
Oh, yeah.
situation. Frank Bartlett has already said that's the up and coming trend.
Okay.
And something that we're gonna probably explore here.
Awesome, very cool. And the last question is, what is your favorite decade?
I would say the 90s.
Okay.
Just because that was the decade, especially the late 90s, where I was a teenager, so I started being able to make a few of my own decisions.
Right.
Like, can I change the radio station, or I don't always have to listen to, mom and dad as far as like what types of TV shows
Right.
I'm going to watch.
Yeah, of course. Very cool. Well, thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo. Wake me up before you go. I don't wanna miss it when you hit that high. Wake me up before you go.
Go. Hey, Tim, how are you?
We good, Steve?
Good. I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Great.
So the first one is, how has your position evolved throughout the years? How do you think like the assistant complex director position has evolved?
Good question, Steve. I would say it's more of a revolution than an
Okay.
evolution.
Okay.
I think that's a good phrase. I don't know what it means, but sorry. I think it's evolved. It's sort of similar to Darwin, origin of species. It's the survival of the fittest, and I think being here as long as I have, I would be as fit as anyone around that you may see. Now, the position itself, I think with the implementation of jitters, that has changed some things. I know we have a lot more supervision than we used to, and our advising skills, I would say, are top-notch in the Midwest.
Very cool. All right, next question for you. Explain your previous Res Life experience and how has it influenced your leadership style?
My leadership style is up for debate. Some say it's the best they've ever seen. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with them. Previous experience, I didn't have much. I was an RA at a very small campus, and in between then and now was 4 or 5 years where I did things that were completely different. But I knew then that I had the skills and mindset for this type of position just because of the people that I met, being able to work with a variety of people, and I think that's actually gotten a lot better since I've been here. Because we get to interact with so many different people in a lot of different ways. I think that's super cool.
All right, so last question. What is your favorite decade?
Thank you. I would say if it wasn't the 1610s with Beethoven
Pretty good,
coming
yeah,
in
right.
to his own, I'd say probably the 2020s.
Very good. Future.
Yeah, I think that will be my favorite because finally we'll be able to hover, and it has to happen.
Has to
right?
happen.
And robots will most of it.
Right.
I will continue to see my family grow, and I think that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you.
Ariel, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. All right, I'm going to ask you a few questions. So the first one is, who inspires you?
The people that I work with, both in the Department of Residence Life and at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, one of the things I love about my job is that I work with people who make me want to be better.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, next question for you. What do you like about working in Res Life?
I think we're in a really unique position to make a difference in the lives of students, just with the way we can have daily contact with them and really get to know them. And I think that's something we should always remember and take advantage of.
Very cool. All right, and the very last question. What is your favorite decade?
The 90s, the 1990s, for certain, was a good decade for me. I finished it really strong.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you.
Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. I have a few questions for you. So the first one is, who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Many people inspire me, but I'm going to go ahead and say Whitney Supianowski. Do you know her?
Yes, of course.
She inspires me, one, because she's been pregnant for like 2 years, and that's pretty awesome and amazing. Two, she's very direct and assertive and great with supervision, and I'm like, just, can we... Yep. But really though, she's great with being direct and supervision, and those are things that I would like to become better with.
Awesome. So next question, explain your previous Res Life experience and how it has influenced your leadership style.
I was an RA for 4 years, and I was an emergency hire, so that kind of helped me just being a leader kind of on the fly, because I had no idea what I was doing, and I had an all-female floor, which was kind of rowdy and crazy, so I often just kind of had to like come up with policies and know my job without knowing my job. So I think that that's something that's helped me a lot, with just being able to go with the flow and being really flexible and being able to handle situations as they arise.
Awesome. And the very last question, what is your favorite decade?
My favorite decade, I can't say for sure because I wasn't alive in this decade, but I'm going to go with the 20s because it seemed very like glitzy and glamorous and
for sure.
sparkly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey Whitney, how are you?
I'm doing well, Steve. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
So, what do you like about working in Res Life?
Oh, what don't I like about working in residence life? Probably one of the best things is the relationships.
Yeah.
Get paid to have fun.
For sure. All right, next question. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I would have to say, like thinking about it really quickly, my mom.
Okay.
She inspires me.
Great. Awesome. And the very last question, what is your favorite decade?
My favorite decade?
Favorite decade.
Gosh. I would have to say, I don't know. The 70s had some pretty interesting attire and music, just things going on in culture.
True.
So yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks, Whitney.
Yeah, thanks so much, Steve.
Awesome. Thanks. Krista, how are you?
Good, how are you, Steve?
Not too bad. I just got a couple questions for you. All right, so the first one is, who inspires you?
I would honestly say a little bit of everyone that I meet. Like, we all have, like, the figures that we look up to and like, the quotes and stuff that we love, but I honestly think, like, a person is shaped by every interaction that they have. And so I really look at, like, my friends, my family, and even, like, you know, who live the job. So my residence life experience, like, down to, like, fellow RAs that I had, and, like, mentors, and, like, the people that I work with. Like, I take things that I like and things that I don't like and try to become that person who I would want to work for and who I want to be.
That's awesome. Alrighty, so the next one is kind of a two-parter, but it's, were you an RA first, and what is one word that describes your RA experience?
Yeah, okay, so I was an RA for 2 years at Blackfield State University. First year was a really unique experience. I lived in an all-female hall, like 70 students, so really, really small hall. And that year, the second year that I was an RA, we went co-ed. So they moved me over to what was the guys' hall, and so they made one floor females, and like 11 of my residents came over with me because we had like such awesome bonds and relationships, and they like surrounded themselves with me. And so I think to sum it up, like the best word to describe that would be that like friendships,
Yeah.
lifelong friendships.
Very cool. And the last question we have for you is, what is your favorite decade?
Oh, favorite decade would probably honestly be like the 20s, like
Okay.
Great Gatsby, love it.
Okay.
Music, the clothes,
Okay.
like just how the era was and the persona and everything like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yes.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.